Next. Can we continue? Another 2 questions. 35 it's over. Okay. Read this scenario.
Yes, sir.
We'll do. Is it right? We'll do. Nothing is okay. We'll do it and section A will be completed. Now read this scenario and tell me once it is done. Is it done?
Yes, sir, done.
Yes, Laila, it's over. Take your time.
Yes, sir.
Take your time. I will ask. That's all. Okay? If it is not done, you want to revise it second time, you can do. Okay? You can do. I am here for just to make sure. From a review of information above, see, they are talking about the chief executive officer, executive board members, 5 people, 2 people, 2 non-executive, 5 non-executive. That while the board sets performance tasks, senior managers, no formal targets, each director.
Done, sir.
1. From a review of the information above, your audit assistant has highlighted some deficiencies. Corporate governance, especially composition of the board. What is the answer?
Number 2, sir, because the chief executive and chairman cannot be one person, same person. 2.
Because he is the CEO and he is the chairman of the board also. Is it right? He is the CEO and he is the chairman of the board also. Is it right? You
Yeah,
can.
so they will have uncertain power decision.
Yeah, CEO is operational head, whereas chairman is the strategic head. Okay, he represents the board. CEO represents the operations of the company. Both should not have one person should not be there for segregation of duties. Is that segregation of duties? Or what you would say, which answer, which option?
2, sir, and 3 also?
Only one.
I think
Okay,
3.
2. 3 also, sir, because they have they cannot make their payment by own. There should be a recommendation committee.
Yeah, fine. But go by the thing. The which is most important?
I
2,
think
2.
2, sir.
Next. Which of the following, yes Gaita, which of the following statement is correct? Correct. Composition of the board. What is the answer? Five executive directors are there and only 2 non-executive directors are there. It should be equal.
I think the third one. Sir?
They should appoint 3 new. Why 3 new
Okay.
executive directors? If you appoint
No,
3
no.
new executive directors, it will be 8.
No.
5 and 5, okay? You should have 5 and 5. Or you should have 2 and 2. You cannot remove directors, okay? You cannot remove directors. Already they are full-time directors. 5 full-time directors are there. Only 2 independent directors are there. Now you want to make you make it what is the rule? 5 non-executive directors, 5 executive directors, equally balanced.
Yeah, so I think they need an internal.
The option is,
Can
The
you go up,
fourth one?
sir?
huh?
The fourth one?
Again, fourth one, reappoint 3 of executive directors as can you do it? You cannot appoint executive directors and not reappoint, no. Again, you are reappointing executive directors, non-executive directors will be 5, executive directors will be 2.
2, sir, the number 2 it is. But go up, sir, I want to see how number non-executive and executive. There is 5 executive and 2 non-executive, so there should be at least 5. It should be balanced. Non-executive you had to complete 3. You have appointment 3 non-executive director.
Yes.
We should appoint 3 non-executive director.
What happened, Gayata?
Yeah.
Next. Your audit assistant does not feel that SG's approach to internal controls is sufficiently robust, means not that much effective to comply with corporate governance principles, has drawn up a list of recommendations. Which 2 of the recommendations are valid?
Could you clarify the question, sir, again?
You see what is the system of internal controls? See this paragraph. Internal controls in SG are monitored by accountant. No, it should be monitored by internal audit.
Yeah, and there is no audit committee.
Yeah, internal audit, okay? An internal auditor will be appointed by the recommendation by the audit committee. Appointment by the management, okay? Although the company assumes that as external auditors, your firm will carry out a detailed review of internal controls, SGCC doesn't have internal audit department. Neither they have internal audit department nor they have a audit committee. Okay, they don't have internal audit it is appointed by whom? It is appointed by the senior accountant. Now, is it? It is appointed by the senior. What is there? What recommendation you will give? SG should establish audit committee with at least 4 directors who, as it require for all listed companies. Who is the, audit committee consists of independent non-executive directors only. Independent non-executive directors only. That's all. No executive directors. First option is not applicable. SGCC must establish an internal audit department and is required for all listed companies. Is it? Must establish and all listed companies must establish, but we'll see the second option, third one. Yes, once SGCC establish audit committee and an internal audit department, the head of the internal audit department should report to the audit committee.
Number 3.
Okay? Yes, Gaita.
Still, sir, it is not clear for me.
SGCC should not rely on external auditor to inform them deficiencies in internal. External auditor is not responsible for, they will review internal controls. Okay, they will review internal controls. But you cannot say that should not rely on the external audit or those things. Is that what is that? It is appointed by senior accountant. There is no audit committee. There is no internal auditor. What is the option? SGCC has, once you establish audit committee, point number 3, and an internal audit department, the internal audit department should report to whom? Should report to the
Audit committee.
Audit committee.
Audit committee.
This is one.
Okay.
Okay? Now,
Yeah.
they are asking 2 points. Is it right? They are asking 2 points which are valid. Is that which are valid? Okay? SGC should not rely on the external audit to inform them of deficiencies in internal controls. Internal controls is the job of internal auditor. Is it right? Internal controls is done by internal auditor. Internal auditor is divided by the management. Okay? It is not the external auditor. Okay? This is not an external auditor. Answer is 2. They are asking 2. Is that SGC should not rely on we should not rely on the, external auditor, what they will do? They will do financial statements. Is that they will do financial statements, they review internal controls. Is that? But we cannot say that, we cannot tell that you have to do internal, we cannot tell to external auditors that you have to do internal controls, all those things. Internal control job is the job of the internal auditor, but not to the external auditor. Is
Sir,
it
why you cannot choose 2 also?
Pardon?
Why you cannot choose 2 also?
SGCC, is it right? SGCC must, they say that must establish internal audit department. Who will establish internal audit? We are seeing the options. Is it right? We are seeing the options. Which is the best options we are selecting? SGCC must establish internal audit department as required by all listed companies. As listed but that is fine. That is a general statement. Is it right? That is the general statement. Okay, if you take this one, is it right? Which one you will remove?
The last one. Because 2 also, no, you have there in each company, listed company, there should be internal audit department.
Who will appoint internal audit department?
Audit committee.
Okay. If that is the case, SGCC should rely on external audit to inform the deficiencies in internal control. What is the role of external auditors? They say SGCC should not rely should not rely, okay, on externality. Means they should not rely. Is it right or wrong?
Right, yes, right.
Then the answer is
3 and 4.
next. Yes, Gaita. You are aware of anyone, option open to all, both of you. You are aware that HGC is considering establishing an internal audit department. With which of the following activities should internal audit function not be involved? What internal auditor should not do? Is it right? Monitoring management performance. Tell me answer.
The third one, sir, taking responsibility for the intermediate
Laila,
of the
yes.
new sales rating
Laila?
system.
Also 3, sir.
Huh?
3, I think. 3, same.
In the examination, see, the first thing that comes to my mind, go with that option. Don't change the answers. Understand point? The extreme cases, if you are so much convinced, there will be some, if you have 15 questions, minimum 8 questions, you will know the answer after this much preparation. I am telling you very clearly. You will have minimum 8, you can do sure. 7, little bit twisting questions. Some will be there, twisting questions. These 8 questions, you should not change answers. The first thing you are putting, once you get the understanding, because usually the first time what you are attempting, that is the right answer. That will be the right answer. Usually, okay? There will be a chance of error will be there. If HGCC board decides to establish internal audit department, then it will also need to decide whether it will employ members of staff directly or will outsource the department to an external firm. You have found a list in your study notes of the advantages of outsourcing as compared with advantages of employing staff. This list includes the following points. Now, what they are asking, you are employing, okay, you are outsourcing the things, okay. When you outsource the things, what happens? Now you see the greater availability of specialist industry skills are required. You outsource, you will get specialist people. You should employ or you should outsource?
Employ.
If you employ, you will see, when you outsource, you want specialist people. Is it right? You want to do marketing. You are in banking. You are in oil industry. But you want something in marketing. Marketing is not your core strength. Then what you will do? You employ people. Is that internal auditor, they want to establish it also decides whether you have to employ members of staff directly or you should outsource it. Is it? You have to outsource this. See, there are advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing. Is that the advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing? When you outsource it, you will get specialized people. When you outsource it, your fixed cost will be less. But when you outsource it, the responsibility, the accountability will also be less. They will not do, if you employ people, they will be more responsible. But you outsource the things, the outside people will do. They will say, yes, we got the business, you do the business, done, fine. Okay? Now, when you are talking about outsourcing, specialized people will be there. Is that you want specialized people, then you have to outsource it. Is it okay? Is that when you want a specialized people, you have to outsource it. Next, flexibility regarding staff number in response to changing circumstances. What happens? You are outsourcing. If the work is more, they will send more people. If the work is less, they will send less people. Okay? There is flexibility is there, staff members. But what happens if you employ people? Is right? If you employ people, the people has to be there. They are time based. If you employ, it is a time based. If you are outsourcing, it is a work based. Is that? If you are employing, it is a time based. Means you are employing, they have to come 7:30 to 3. They have to be there. They have to go. They have to come at 7:30. Work is there or not there. They have to be there 3 o'clock. Done. But if you are outsourcing, flexibility will be there. If there is more work, you will have more number of people. If there is a less work, you will have less. As per the work, you will pay. Is it right? As per the work, you will pay. Means you will have flexibility regarding staff members. Is that? They are talking about flexibility about the staff number. We should, if we want flexibility regarding staff numbers, in terms of what? In terms of changing circumstances, demand and supply. Okay, demand of the work and supply of the people as such. Okay, what we have to do? We have to outsource it or we have to employ it?
Outsources.
Yes, Gaita. Now,
Yes, sir. I think.
elimination,
Okay.
I think. Okay, understand this. Okay, revise this. Very important. Elimination of direct training cost. You are outsourcing. To the staff, you give training. Is that? If you employ people, you will give training. If you outsource it, you will have a training cost.
No.
No. Elimination means you will not have, where you will not have training cost, employment or outsourcing.
Outsourcing.
Development of skills, increasing the human resource strength of the entity of the company. Entity means the company. If you employ, what will happen? You are giving training. If you outsource, you will not give training. What happens to the employments? What the moment you are development of skills? If you employ people, you will see. You will act, as a matter of fact, you will pamper them. You will take care of them. Is it right? You want to develop them. Is it right? But whereas when you are outsourcing, we are least concerned. Okay, we are least concerned. Where it is applicable, this point, employment or outsourcing?
Employment.
Employed.
Can I submit?
Yes, sir.
See how much time we have taken. See the topmost. 23 minutes. Is it 23? We have to take 18 minutes. Okay. By the time we will cover this 18 minutes. See the things. What is there? Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, this is the recent exam. Okay. This is the recent exam of 2022, March, June. Okay. Can we do this and we'll stop?
Okay with me, sir.
Okay. Read this one. Sorry. Is it okay?
Done, sir.
Yes, Laila, it's over.
Yes, sir.
Done? Now, what they are asking, an assurance engagement can provide limited assurance or there are two things. One is limited, one is reasonable. Fine. Now, as an audit is an example of this type of assurance, which we will provide limited or reasonable or both. When we provide limited assurance is the negative assurance. Reasonable assurance is the positive. We say true and fair. Okay. We will not say complete. Is it right? We will not say it is totally correct. Okay. We will say if we agree with everything, the audit assurance engagement, if things are work well, they will give which type of assurance? Reasonable assurance. You are an auditor, you are going to and say that yes, it is reasonable, fine. So far so good, that's all. You cannot say that. Limited assurance, if you find anything wrong, if you are not finding evidence, is it right? If you are not having evidence, then you will say subject to inventory, subject to property, plant and equipment, subject to cash. Is it right? Subject to cash, then it is a limited assurance. But overall financial statements, we provide which type of assurance? We provide reasonable assurance. Okay, overall financial statements, we provide reasonable assurance. Fine. Now, lower level of assurance means
Limited.
limited. Okay, Gaita?
Okay, sir.
Judgment is required to determine appropriate procedures. to require this level of judgment is there. Judgment is needed to determine procedures to obtain level of assurance. When you need judgment, okay, is required, means if there is a judgment, if judgment will be right, judgment will be wrong, okay, judgment will be limited, judgment will be reasonable, okay. In that type of assurance, is it right, you will take your judgment is there, is it right, before you have a limited, you have some points to be clarified, but once you have done the procedures, the points will be cleared. If that is the case, there is possibility, is it? There is a possibility by the time we complete the audit, there is a possibility that you will provide limited assurance or reasonable assurance based on the outcome. Is it? Based on the procedures. Based on the procedures, maybe you will have limited or you may have reasonable. Is it okay? Is it based on the procedures? Okay,
Yes.
based on the procedures, you will have either limited or you have reasonable. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Some questions will have, you need to understand, something more. Is it? It will happen. Don't worry about that. A negative form of conclusion is provided. Limited or reasonable or both?
Limited.
Limited. 2 marks means 0.5, 0.5. If you have done three options right, they will give 1.5. Two things right, 1, 4, 2 marks. Is that 0.5 for each one? Now, which two? Is it right? This is always keep it in mind. Is it right? In the examination you have to make which two of the following tests would dog carry out as part of limited assurance review of financial statements. Tell me, Gaita, you tell one, Laila, you tell one.
I think, sir, the second and the first.
Second and the?
Second and the fourth.
Yes, Laila. We'll never do all balances. Keep it in mind that we are not going to do any, all balances will never be checked. Sample. Okay? We cannot go each extensive test. We will not go extensive. On only sample, and on sample we will do. We will not do extensive means complete in detail. It's not possible. Option 4 is not applicable. You have to give reasons. I have to give reasons when I say no. Is it? Perform extensive test of details on overall balances. Auditor will not do on all balances. Is it right? They will see where there is a risk of material misstatements. Where there is a risk of material misstatement, they will assess the risk, and based on the assessment of the risk, they will do the procedures. Means point number 4 is not there. Yes, Laila, tell me 1 and 3.
3, sir.
Perform test of controls to understand the controls. These are test of controls. Is it right? This is not for which two of the following tests would the carry out as part of assurance financial statements. Is it in financial statements? What we'll do? Perform test of control. Why we do test of controls? To know whether controls are effective or not. Is that controls are effective or not? We are doing limited assurance review. It is not a controls test. We are not testing the controls. Is that if you are testing the control, then you have to perform test of controls. Is that we are talking about what? We are talking about the limited assurance review of overall financial statements. If there is something is there, we have to check with the management, dog and company. What is dog and company? Is that dog and company? What they say you have to, what they say you have to, anything is there. Most importantly, see what you are saying, point number 3 is test of controls. It is why we are doing test of controls, to know whether controls are effective or not. But as part of the assurance, we have to inquire with the management. Any large items, any unusual items within the financial statement. They are talking in terms of financial statements. Okay, see the things. You have to understand what they are making the thing. When they are asking about the financial statements, the answer should be related to financial statements only. Is it right? Inquire with the management as to large and within the financial, because they are talking about the limited assurance review of what? Limited review assurance of financial statement. If that is the case, we will not do test of controls. Test of controls is to know the effectiveness of the controls. Is it okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it? Now, IASB framework for assurance engagement. Okay? IASB. Assurance engagement requires certain elements to present in every assurance engagement. Is it right? Now, what they are asking us, now, which of the elements required framework is not present in the proposed engagement? Tell me answer. Trim transport. Trim transport. First you read what is the trim transport. The board of directors of trim transport set key performance indicators, assess company performance for the year 2. The board has asked the auditors perform a assessment of performance and prepare a report to the board whether KPI have been achieved. The board will provide access to the books and records to the KPI. DOJ does not provide any other services to trim. Is it? What is there? The board of directors is the management. Is it? The board of directors is the management. And there is a auditors is there. There are management is there. Okay. There is auditors is there. There is a management is there. Now, what is the answer? Tell me. The first option is what I said, there must be a three-party relationship. Three parties are there in that scenario.
Yes.
Who are there?
The board, the director,
Hmm.
and also did you have report to the
What are the who are the three parties?
auditor,
The
management, and board.
practitioner, the intended user and responsibility party. Responsible party is the management. Practitioner is the auditor. Is it right? Okay? Fine, okay, I understand. Okay? Responsible party is the management. Responsible party is the management. And the practitioner is the auditor. Is it? The intended user. Shareholder is there here.
No, but they mentioned to write to the board.
Is it? The board of directors is there. The board of directors is there. The board issue ask the audit practitioner is there. Is it? To prepare for the board whether KPS has. The board will provide access to the books. Board does not provide any other services. Is there any shareholders are involved here?
No.
Is it? There should be shareholders, okay? When you are talking about the thing, there must be a three-party relationship. Is it? There must be appropriate subject matter, fine. And subject matter is there. Ability to correct sufficient evidence is there. Conclusion must be form is there. But which is not present here?
One. Because the shareholder is not in the scenario.
Okay. Other things are present. Subject, what is the subject matter is there. Is it? The fine? That's fine. Next. Identify by clicking on the relevant boxes whether each of the statements relating to possible provision of internal audit service but to Keegan is true and false. Read once again Keegan and company what they are saying. Keegan Company, an existing audit client, is concerned setting up an internal audit department. The directors are unsure whether to hire staff or to outsource the function. Keegan has approached the auditor to inquire as to whether it could provide internal audit service. Is it? They are asking the auditor to provide internal audit service. Now within that context, is it? Whether it is true and false. The risk of dog company assume responsibility will be reduced by using a separate team of staffs who are not involved in the external audit. You can provide yes or true or false. The risk of dog company assume management responsibility would be reduced by using a separate team of staff who are not involved responsibility will decrease, okay? Responsibility will decrease, but risk will increase, okay? Risk, see, you are talking about separate teams. They are saying that they are talking about the separate teams. Okay, fine. Is that it's good? You are having, you can do this. You have a separate team of staff. Okay, you should have a separate team of who are not involved in the external audit. But in that process, what will happen? What will happen? The responsibility will be decreased, but the risk will be increased. The risk of Dodgy and company assuming management responsibility would be reduced. Separate team who are not involved in the audit. What will happen if you are doing, see the things. You are doing a financial statement audit and you are talking about internal audit services also. Which threat will be there here? Which threat will be there? Self-review. Is that you are doing audit as well as internal controls? Is it right? You are doing both the things, or even it is a separate teams. there is a self-review threat. Is it? What happens? What happens? See the thing. Whether each of the statements relating to possible provisions of internal audit company by Doji and company is true or false. The risk of Doji assuming management responsibility will be reduced by using a separate team of staff who are not involved in the external audit.
False, it will be increased. The risk it will be increased.
Second one, Doji should consider whether Keegan Company appointing a responsible official to oversee internal audit functions. Keegan Company has appointed, is that you are not aware, oversee the audit company should see that the client has appointed a responsible officer, internal auditor, to oversee internal audit activities. True or false? Who is responsible to appoint internal auditor?
Audit committee?
Yes. Management. Audit committee will give references, recommend, but responsibility is management. Okay. And what is the role of external auditor?
To see if there is control. Yani.
Yes. External auditor sees that the internal audit is functioned properly or not. Okay. You should understand the reason. Okay. The audit committee will give recommendations to the management for appointment of internal auditor, and external auditor will see whether the internal auditor is, they review internal audit controls, all the things they will review. Okay, they will only review. Answer is true and false.
True.
The materiality of financial statements, amounts, affected by internal audit services should be considered significance of any self-review threat.
Also, I think, sir, because anything is amount related to cash, it should be self-interest.
Anything related to cash is a
Self-interest?
material, but here it is self-interest or self-review.
Just say that materiality of financial statement amount affected by.
See, they are talking about financial statement amounts. Financial statements affected by internal audit service. Is it? Financial statements amounts affected by internal audit service. Internal audit service, you are taking it from the client. Okay. When you are taking it from the client, from the auditor, client is taking the internal audit services from the client. Now, when it is taken by the client, what will happen? You are taking the financial statement amounts is going to be done by the external auditor, and internal audit service is also done by the external auditor. What will happen? It will be self-review or self-interest?
Self-review.
Self. It is true or false?
True.
Next. Last one. Okay. 35 questions. We have done last time 15, now 20. Is that review once, twice? Again we will do extensively. Understand why? We will do perfection will come. Exam based questions you will get complete perfection. Don't think that somewhat will be difficult. Slowly and steadily, the more we do it, the more we get the expertise. What it says, CAT can company law. First you read what CAT is talking about. Is it that where it is there? Huh. Dodgy and company has recently accepted a new client letter. The previous auditor, Cat and company, resigned from the audit May 25. Dodgy was appointed on June. Letty company is in early stages. Is it right? Is in early stages of legal action against Cat for failing to detect and fraud. See, understand the scenario, okay? Dodge has recently accepted new client. Letty, this new client is there. What is the previous auditor? Resigned. Okay. Dodge was appointed on 4th. Letty company is the early stages of, they are taking legal action against the previous auditor. Is that the again accepted a new client? Oh, sorry. They are taking a legal action about the client asset, Cat and company. Dodgy has recently, 1 minute. Is that Dodgy has recently accepted a new client, Letty. Okay, fine. The previous auditor of Letty, Cat, and resigned from the audit, and the Dodgy has accepted this appointment. Is that the new client, Letty Companies, is early stages of taking action against the previous auditor. Is it right? Against the previous auditor. What is the situation they are asking? Cat company lawyers argued that previous auditor, the firm failed to detect fraud of Letty due to inherent limitations. Is that due to inherent limitations? They are very clearly saying that it is because of inherent limitations in the audit, and that it had in fact obtained sufficient and appropriate evidence to enable it to detect material misstatements due to fraud. Which of the following is an inherent limitation of the audit? Any idea about the answer? Read. Cat was auditing the company for the first time and the business was new to them. Can we give a explanation like this?
No.
Fine. Due to tight reporting deadlines, Cat has a limited amount of time to complete the audit. Can we do that? Can we do that? The time is less, we will do only something, we will do something else. Can we give that excuse?
Maybe, sir.
Huh?
Lack of time, you mean?
Even there is a little time you have to do. You have to assess the risk and you have to do the things. Is it? We cannot say that I have time. I cannot say that I don't have time. I will take only 5 questions. Other things I will not take. No. When the auditor has taken before you accept, you should have a complete audit planning. Is it? You should have complete audit planning. You cannot say that only 2 days are left. I will just do something and I will finish it off. You cannot. We cannot do that. First is also not applicable. Second is also not applicable. Understand with reason. Court has relied on the truth of information given to them by the company. Can we rely on the information given by the company staff, or we have to see the evidence?
See the evidence also.
See the evidence also. We cannot rely, okay? We cannot rely on the information. CAT has used audit sampling in performing test of details. Is it? What we have to do when there is, when it is, and to detect material misstatements to the fraud, is that you have to use sampling methods. Okay, you have to do sampling. You have to increase the sampling. Is it right? You have to increase the sampling. You should make sure that yes, things are done appropriately. We cannot shred off our responsibility. Getting my point? The first thing is we cannot give an excuse that it is first time. We cannot give an excuse that it is a limited time. We cannot give an excuse that we are relying on truth of the staff. There is no truth concept. We have not discussed these points. Okay, we never discussed these points. We have discussed what? If there is anything is there, material misstatements, any fraud is there, you increase the sample size. Okay, you increase the sample size. The answer is what? The answer is D. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Is it okay, Gaita? See the things, okay? See the things. The first one is okay. Okay, 31 is fine. Okay, 32 is fine. Okay, take the read. When I am sending you this PDF file, please read explanations. Okay, please read the explanation. It makes sense. Fine. 34. 35.